Now that I got your attention with this title, let's jump into the video. Hi, Bella Beauties. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to talk about how to protect yourself as a woman with pretty privilege. This video will discuss why to stop being a people pleaser and start setting boundaries, especially if you are pretty. So no, you don't have to be an a-hole if you're pretty. By being quote unquote mean, I simply mean having standards and enforcing boundaries and sticking to them. Now, why is it so important for pretty women especially to not be a people pleaser? If you're new to this channel, let me introduce you to the power ladder. This ladder represents women's social hierarchy, and the prettier you are, the higher up on the ladder you are. Now, every woman is always competing to get up on this ladder, get higher up on this ladder. Word to the beauty and cosmetic industry. If you are a people pleaser, especially a pretty people pleaser, you automatically drop down the ladder because human nature in general does not respect people pleasers. They just find a way to use and discard you, basically. Think about the kindest, most giving people in your life. They are usually those that experience the most trauma because they're constantly being used and abused by others simply because they don't set standards for themselves. They prioritize other people's needs over their own, and they don't enforce boundaries for themselves. If you have pretty privilege, people will definitely always try to find a way to use you to make their lives easier and better with no concerns about your feelings. Because remember, you are just a shiny accessory to them that helps them to level up in life, right? Now, let's say I don't know you. This is the first time that I've met you in person, right? How would I know you're a people pleaser? If you are the type of person that's constantly seeking approval from other people, I know you're a people pleaser. For example, if you are always the person going out of your way to help people and prove to them that you are a good person in order for them to like you, you're a people pleaser. I know for pretty women, there's this stereotype that we are mean and stuck up. So, in fear of being labeled as such, we try to counteract that stereotype by going out of our way to be super kind, super helpful, and agreeable. And I'm telling you guys now, that is actually going to have the opposite effect of the outcome you actually want. Okay, it's not going to work. Um, if you constantly seek approval from other people, you're essentially playing into their power over you. This need for validation can make you very predictable and easily manipulated, honestly. When you do this, you're basically giving away your power because your behavior basically reinforces the perception that you're not confident in yourself and you're afraid of conflict and being perceived, which can pretty much lead to you being taken advantage of or not being taken seriously. When people don't take you seriously, they don't respect you. And you knock your own self off the top of this power ladder because you've proved that you are not a threat to their ego. And I promise you, it's better to become a threat than a non-factor. Word to Evelyn Lozada, you're a non-motherfucking factor, bitch. When you project yourself as non-threatening, everybody will think they can walk all over you. So, like, if you come out like super humble, like, oh, like if people give you compliments and you try to downplay it, or if nobody asks for your help and you go out ahead to help them, or if you are super agreeable to everything somebody say, or if somebody asks you for a favor and you can't do it, you got other things to do for yourself, but you prioritize their needs over yours. Baby, you're a people pleaser, and people will think they can walk all over you and use you. But by letting people earn your kindness and not being super concerned with winning everyone's approval, you will actually project this aura of strength and independence and power that is far more attractive and commanding than constantly people pleasing. You will actually see that people will start to follow your lead as a leader, and not learn to cross you because they know there will be consequences. Remember, babes, humans do not like people pleasers. It is not in our nature. They just use them and throw them away once you are no longer needed. Um, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have these kind of stories. If you do, please leave them in the comments below. There's no shame here. We are all healing here. So there's no room for shame. If I see anybody shaming anybody, I'm going to basically block you. So the more available and common something is, the less value we attribute to it, right? As humans, that's naturally how we think. Like, the cheaper something is, the more commonly available something is, the more familiar we are with something, the less we respect it, the less value we attribute to it. So if you overly give your kindness to people who haven't earned it or who haven't even asked for it, um, the less they value you. Okay, let people earn your kindness. They value it more when you're not trying so hard. Okay. Now, I know some of you guys will probably say, well, I'm just naturally a good person, or I just like to help people. I'm not saying never be a good person, or never help people that deserve it. You know, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that constantly trying to please others or being overly helpful can create this sense of dependency or entitlement in the person that you're helping. And over time, this can actually lead to resentment in that person, and they may actually feel like you're being condescending, and they will feel like they are below you, which can actually lead to them attacking you or rejecting you or betraying you. So you guys think about it like this. Like, you see somebody super gorgeous. Let's say, for example, Beyonce somehow, some way comes your way. You know, Beyonce is like the queen, right? Of queen of music. She's super beautiful, super gorgeous. And she just decides to start helping you, with something that you wouldn't even attribute to Beyonce. Like, you're going to feel like, okay, girl, are you doing charity work? Like, do you think I'm below you? Like, what's happening here, right? So you have to think of yourself as a celebrity, and you have to think of yourself as somebody with pretty privilege. Everybody is not going to receive your help as just some type of over kindness, or just something, doing something good out of your heart. Some people can actually think you're being condescending. So that's why people pleasing can be actually very dangerous for you, because it can make people resent you, and actually try to sabotage you. And I have plenty of story times about stuff like this, but I'm going to tell just a very quick one. So this actually wasn't that long ago, but I was on a group trip with strangers I don't know, right? To at different destinations, and basically, the group was split into twos. So the one group of girls will be in like one dorm, and another group of girls will be in another dorm, and that's how it was for all of the trip. And there was this one girl that was in the other dorm that I wasn't in. And basically, as the trip went on, maybe let's say about 5 days in, I realized that she was always alone, and by herself. So I thought, oh, maybe she has social anxiety, or she's shy and she doesn't, know how to fit in. And me, coming from a background of trauma and stuff like that. And I used to have social anxiety of myself. So I was like feeling very like, oh, let me help this girl out. I know how she's feeling. It can be intimidating, being in a new group of people. So I tried to like get her to come out of her shell. So I would tell her like, "Oh, girl, like you don't have to be alone. You can hang out with us. We're gonna do this. You can come and hop along. Or you don't have to be alone. You don't have to always be by yourself." So I'm thinking I'm being kind to this girl. Like, I'm being nice. I'm trying to help her out. And this is also a problem, because what did I just do? I projected my own self and my own past and my own traumas onto this girl that I don't really know, right? So I'm thinking I'm helping, but really I was just projecting myself. Um, Everybody is not you. I need you to stop projecting yourself onto other people. everybody does not come from the same background that you come from, and you don't know why they are the way they are. So sometimes it's best to leave people alone. Basically, I learned my lesson. So a little deeper into the trip, we go on some type of, like boat trip, water trip, and we're on the water, and she just so happens to be on the same boat that I am with like two other people. And she sits right by me, which is fine with me. So I'm like busy, distracted, trying to get my content and trying to take videos of the beautiful nature and stuff on the water. And what do I feel on my thigh, on my right thigh? Um, so I feel something happening with my dress on my right thigh. So I turn around, and you guys will not believe what is happening. This girl is rubbing the back of her camera on my freaking dress. I kid you not, this is not a lie. Like, she's rubbing the back of her camera on my dress. And mind you, she's wearing clothes, so she can rub the back of her camera on her own clothes. So I look at her in anger and I go off on her because, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, and I felt so hurt and so betrayed because I felt like I've been nothing but nice to this girl. Um, why would you try to do something like this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And mind you, like a few days before this, I had already kind of written her off a little bit because she had tried to poke fun at me by, saying a stupid thing, saying stupid things, to try to fit in with other people. She thought since I was a nice one, like, trying to bully me, quote unquote, will like get her in with the others. When in reality, girl, it doesn't work like that. Okay. um, but she had sat next to me and did that. So like this girl has something out for me. And I was so shocked because I had done nothing but be nice to her, as I thought. But you never know how people will receive your kindness, especially if they didn't ask for it. So maybe she probably thought I was being condescending. So she probably thought, oh, this is a pretty girl who thinks she's better than me and who thinks she's doing charity work by trying to do this and that and that. Um, which that's not what I was trying to do at all. So, you guys, everybody does not deserve your kindness. And later on in the trip, I learned that she has done other things to other people that weren't so nice. So I realized, oh, this is just not a good person, and that's why everybody avoids her, and that's why she's always alone. So sometimes people are alone because they're terrible people, and you need to leave them alone. You can't help everybody, and stop projecting yourself onto other people. Um, that don't deserve it. Actually, don't ever project yourself onto other people. You do not know these people. Everybody does not have the same story and background as you do. So, yes, that was a quick story time to just tell you how people pleasing can actually backfire on you. um, so, people can actually view your excessive helpfulness as a form of manipulation and gain control or influence over them. Um, this can make people very suspicious of you, and as they should, because a lot of abusive people use excessive niceness and helpfulness to reel their victims in order to abuse them later on. So yes, people might be suspicious of you, especially if you're pretty. Why is this super gorgeous girl who has high status all of a sudden being so nice to me? Um, Especially like with human traffickers, sometimes that's how they are. Like they're super nice, super, helpful, and then, you know, you find out later, like, oh, this is not a good person. So see how being a people pleaser can actually have downsides, and it's not always a good thing. And lastly, eventually your people pleasing behaviors will lead to you feeling depleted and unappreciated because you basically sacrifice your own needs and values in order to avoid being perceived as a biatch. And just because you're nice to somebody does not mean they will be nice to you. Welcome to the game of life. Nothing is fair. Believing that niceness should protect you from bad experiences sets unrealistic expectations for you. Bad things happen to good people all the time, and niceness doesn't guarantee you immunity from rejection or hurt or being betrayed. Okay, so yes, your people pleasing ends today. Now, as a former people pleaser myself, I think it's important to point out how a lot of pretty women become people pleasers and have trouble saying no and standing up for ourselves. Firstly, if you come from a traumatic background or from a narcissistic, abusive family dynamic as a scapegoat, you are more than likely to become a people pleaser and a punching bag to other people outside of your family because the chaos outside is familiar to the chaos inside that you grew up in, basically. So to you, disrespect might feel normal, or you might not even notice it because it's so normalized in your private life and you don't realize it's disrespect until like way later. um, and here's how your traumatic background sets you up to be a people pleaser, basically. If you grew up needing constant approval and validation from your narcissistic parents, you probably learned to seek approval by prioritizing others' needs over your own. So, love and affection from narcissistic parents can be very inconsistent and unpredictable, leading you to seek approval and love by trying to do everything right for everybody. And this fear of rejection can create like this deep seated need for approval in you, making you more likely to become a people pleaser to maintain their validation and to basically replicate the approval you rarely received growing up. That's a lot, guys. I need you guys to meditate on that. So ask yourself, are you just a nice girl or are you a people pleaser? Um, Also, if you always try to avoid conflict with your narcissistic parents because of their harsh reactions from you expressing your opinions, your needs, your feelings, as an adult, this fear of negative confrontation can actually lead you to avoid setting boundaries and saying no to people, hence becoming a people pleaser. Emotional manipulation from your parents, like guilt tripping or shaming you, teaches you that your worth is conditional on pleasing others. And this fear of being labeled negatively reinforces your people pleasing behaviors. So we're not doing that in 2024, right? Um, and by the way, narcissistic parents can literally erode your self esteem by being overly critical of everything you do, teasing you, outright insulting you, sabotaging you. They're basically your first bully. And this makes you doubt your worth and seek external validation through people pleasing. And you might grow up not actually knowing how beautiful you actually are or how intelligent, talented, amazing, and capable you actually are because you don't think you're worth much. So you go to great lengths to prove to people that you are worth it. Um, and when you grow up with people like this, more than likely you're going to end up befriending and getting into relationships with people that are just like your parents. That's how like the trauma cycle works most of the time. So when people see a pretty girl with low self-esteem, they get excited because they know you don't know your power. So you can be easily taken advantage of, and it will be easier to knock you off that power ladder, ladies. We're not doing that in 2024, right? Um, and if your parents blamed you for their negative emotions or failures in life, it teaches you to feel responsible for managing other people's feelings. That's why when somebody disrespects you or says something rude to you, you don't say anything back or do anything back because you somehow feel responsible for causing them to do that to you. Or even if when you do want to defend yourself, you're so scared that it will cause you to lose a relationship you have with this person because you might end up hurting their feelings. This, even though they just hurt your feelings, right? This, my friends, is not a relationship or a friendship. It is a trauma bond. Get out of that. Okay. If you're a child of a narcissist, you probably learned that love and acceptance um, is conditional, which can cause you to have a habit of prioritizing other people's needs over your own. Um, and this can translate to your adult behaviors where you feel the need to please others to be accepted and loved. And that's not good, babes. You don't need to do anything to receive love, basically. And we all know that Abusive and narcissistic parents lack respect for boundaries in general. If you grew up not being able to express your limits and boundaries with your parents, or if you did and it was met with like some type of harsh reactions, um, or violence or something like that, or just was never respected and upheld, this will lead to confusion about your personal limits, making it challenging for you to set boundaries and enforce boundaries as an adult. So you don't even know what your boundaries are because you were never allowed to have any. So yes, this can contribute to your people pleasing behaviors, to avoid conflict and rejection. So ask yourself, after everything that I just said in this video, ask yourself, are you really just a nice, kind, good girl, helpful person, or are you a people pleaser? Comment down below in the comment section. There's no shame here. We're all healing here. Nobody's perfect. It's okay to admit, hey, I'm a people pleaser and I want to change that. That's fine. And if it's the latter, I recommend tuning into my next video, which will be a second part of this video about how to actually stop being a people pleaser. I also added another document to my Patreon called Signs of Manipulation. You guys can go ahead and check it out. It's a great guide if you're not aware of the power games people play. I'm also going to later add a document about signs of a narcissistic bully, just also as a guide. I also, yeah, let's do that. So now I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something from this video. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to this channel and share if you care. I really appreciate all my new subscribers and the love I have been receiving on my last 2 videos. It's been a busy week, so I don't get to upload as frequently as I would like. But thank you all for supporting me, and I hope this channel helps to heal you. With that being said, have a good day, Glow Getters. I will see you in the next video. Bye.